Guys, I messed up bad. I show you the good parts of farming, and I'm also going to show you the bad parts. Not as expensive as the disc bind, but this one is completely on me. And that kind of just makes it worse because this could have been completely avoidable. And I did not avoid it. This tractor here has been giving me so many issues the last 2 years. Fuel issues left and right. Actually, last 3 years. It just always has fuel issues, and I don't understand why. We've torn this carb apart like 4 times, had it rebuilt 4 times. Like, we've rebuilt it, new kits, cleaned it out, all the orifices. What I mean is, like, it'll run fine, it'll idle fine, it'll putz around fine, you think it's doing fine, and then you go to actually use it and work it, drive down the road or hook it up to the rake, and it's puttering, it's sputtering, it wants to stall out. You got to use the choke to even just keep it running. So I had this sprayer hooked up to the case, and I had it filled up with chemical. We were gonna go spray today. It's a perfect day to spray. We ain't making any hay right now. Like, it's a good time to get this knocked out. Running down the road, I get halfway down the road and it stalls out on me. And it stalls out on me like 3 or 4 times. And I say, screw it. I'm turning around, I'm gonna come back and hook it up to the AGCO. It's gonna be a pain in the butt because it's full, but we're gonna do it. So I brought it back, limped it back, and went to set it down on the pallets. Unhooked the 3-point off of this thing, and I went to pull forward. And in the midst of my frustration, forgot that the PTO and pump was hooked up, and it's chained onto the drawbar. So I start going forward, and I pull the whole thing off the pallets. Whole thing comes falling off the pallets, comes crashing down, and I bust a couple hoses. I bust that one off the pump, and then there is that fitting right there. I busted that fitting. And this thing is full of 50 gallons of Prowl and Relegate and 2,4-D, and it just starts spilling all over the lawn here. So needless to say, the clover is going to be gone, and yeah, we're actually just going to have a giant dead spot right here. So that's really nice. I got Prowl in my hands, so I need to go wash my hands now. And I was just standing here watching this thing empty out, didn't know what to do, and then I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go pick it up with the forks here and try to get it to where it can't spill out anymore. So I probably drained a good 25 gallons out onto the ground. And the big picture is not a ton compared to what it could have been. Could have been the whole tank, but I managed to at least save half the tank here. Just really ticks me off that I did this. Good things and bad things happen. We're gonna go wash up, and we're probably gonna run to the sprayer store to get some parts. Okay, it's hooked up to the AGCO. We got the stuff fixed. I ran out to an Amish store and grabbed a 90-degree fitting and a new little coupler there. I did the painful process of putting more chemical in here. And I say painful because I had bought enough chemical to spray my 10 acres I need to spray here in the summertime. And then I would have a little bit left over probably for the fall if I still need to do some cleanup. Now I'm probably not going to have any left over. I might have some Relegate, but I don't think I'm gonna have any 2,4-D left, or not very much. And yeah, so anyway, annoying, but we got it fixed. It was $12 in parts. So $12 in parts and $200 in chemical. I guess it was kind of an expensive mistake, but could be worse. It's been 3 weeks since we cut this field, and it actually has some really good regrowth on it. I might even take 3 cuttings off of this field just because of, you know, how much this grass is already growing. So we're gonna come in here, we're gonna smoke out all this clover. There is some milkweed up in that area and milkweed over there, and there's horsenut on the other side. So yeah, we're gonna get it cleaned up here. Well, that didn't take very long to find another problem. Looks like we broke more than one fitting earlier. Bro. The new fitting is on. I got another problem though. This thing, the sump on the bottom of the tank is leaking bad there, so we just need to get this thing sprayed. How about that fancy pacer pump? Yeah, big time. That's a step up from last year having to use 5-gallon buckets to fill the sprayer. If you're curious on how I sprayed last year, you can watch this video up here. It was a very makeshift jerry-rigged sprayer that I pulled with the UTV. So this thing right here, this is the cat's meow compared to what I was using last year. So we're gonna fill up with another roughly 20-gallon batch. I finished spraying this whole field. This patch is 3.7 acres, and the sprayer had enough in it for 3.3 acres. So we came out below our target rate. Our target rate was 15 gallon to the acre. I'm not sure what that comes out to, 13, 14 gallon. I don't know. This is what I'm spraying today. 2,4-D, everybody knows what that is. That's your standard broadleaf killer. Relegate, that's very similar to 2,4-D. It is a broadleaf and woody plant control. So it's here on the label. Woody plants, annuals, and perennial broadleaves. So with those two, you have a pretty good broad spectrum herbicide mix that'll pretty much clean up any grass stand. And then this right here, this is Prowl H2O, which is a herbicide that I use for crabgrass, fall panicum, and foxtail. Foxtail being the biggest one, because as a horse hay producer, we cannot have foxtail in our hay. At least if we want to sell it as pretty high quality hay. If you have a bunch of foxtail in your hay, it can turn off a lot of horse customers, because the foxtail seed heads, they can get in like the gums and I think the throat and lungs of a horse, and they can just cause a lot of problems. So a little foxtail might not deter some horse people. Like I have sold hay with a little bit of foxtail in it, and some people don't care. But we're trying to go for a higher quality hay. And I'm trying to make these fields down here, which are still close to home, high quality hay. So if we can make all of my acres high quality hay, we can make a lot more money. We can net more money. So that's kind of the idea behind spraying this stuff. Did all my math ahead of time. For this batch, I need 2.1 pints of the 2,4-D. We need 1.4 pints of the Relegate. And then we need 2 quarts, which is half a gallon, of Prowl. And now we fire up the fancy pacer pump. And just like that, we are done here. So we'll be back probably in a week to check on this stuff, just to see how it's dying. Hopefully it does. There's a lot of good growth out here, so I would imagine that when I get a chance, we'll take a second cutting off of it in July. Right across the hedgerow though, we have first cutting though that we still haven't taken off, and it's getting brown. There's a lot there. It's just matures early over there, and it's time to cut. But we don't have the weather right now, but that will be the next stuff we cut. So I am in what I call the hay farmer's dilemma. It is super hot, super muggy, if I was a corn farmer and a soybean farmer, or even a wheat farmer, I'd be thrilled with this kind of weather, because it makes stuff grow and it fills out kernels and it puts an ear on the corn. It's great for growing crops, and it's great for growing hay. I've got second cutting that needs to be cut in the next week if I want to do it in its 28-day, 30-day schedule. But I'm not going to get around to it, because I still have first cutting, 18 acres of first cutting to make. So it's a dilemma, because this weather makes the hay grow really good. We can grow a really good crop of hay, but it also makes making hay a freaking nightmare. So I'm kind of just twiddling my thumbs, because every day the weather changes. One day, it looks to be a 3-day window, and then 6 hours later, it's a 90% chance of rain that day. And then 6 hours after that, it's a 50%. And then the chance goes away, and then it comes back. So it's just a back and forth, and just twiddle my thumbs until it's maybe time to go. Some days I really do get tired of cranking this thing, but then I got to remind myself that before this, I had 2 5-gallon diesel cans, and that's how I operated. Tractor number 2. Got another bale of last year's second cutting grass going out. This is cattle quality stuff, just because of the weeds and the horse nettle. If it didn't have that, it'd be really nice hay, and I would have small baled it. But I want to pick your guys' brains, so please comment down below your thoughts on this. But I got 6 of those bales left. Last year's second cutting, I mean, you can just compare the color. Last year's second cutting to this year's first cutting. Obviously, these things have been exposed to sunlight and moisture because they're the outside of the bale there. So they're gonna brown a little bit, but the inside is pretty green. But I wanna know your guys' thoughts on something. So I got 6 of these bales left. And what I could do is I could load them up on a truck and take them to auction next week and maybe get 150 bucks a ton, maybe. 200 if I'm really lucky, but I'm probably planning on 150, maybe even less than that. It's last year's second cutting. It's cattle quality, not horse quality. And there's already a lot of hay in the area because it's hay season right now. So there's an influx of hay coming in. So hay prices kind of do a temporary dip. I could show up to auction, get 150 a ton for them, and walk away with a $270 check. And then I would have that section cleaned out for new hay, and I would have a nice little check in my pocket. Or I could continue doing what I've been doing. Been selling one bale at a time to a lady. A couple other people bought 2 or 3 at a time, but one lady in particular bought a majority of these bales and was selling one at a time, put it in the bed of her pickup, but she's buying retail. Retail, I have these bales at 80 bucks a bale, which I haven't figured out the ton of like cost per ton, but that's, I think, closer to like 250 bucks a ton or something. And I've been getting that consistently. And I know every week she's gonna show up, I'm gonna put a bale in her truck, it's gonna take me 5 minutes, I'm gonna get retail price for it. However, I'm only getting $80 at a time, right? But over the course of 2 months that this lady's been buying these bales, I will have made, you know, $1,700, $1,800 off of the stack of hay that I had there. Whereas if I took them to auction and took a loss on them, I'd maybe make $1,000. Personally, I would rather sell them one at a time because I don't move a huge volume of hay. So every single bale of hay in my barn, it's important, and every sale counts. So I don't have a problem taking my time and selling these one at a time or slowly, but selling them at retail, because at the end of the year, when I do a profit and loss and I look at my per field basis, the field that this hay came from is gonna look a lot better on paper if I sell these at retail. Even though it takes longer, I'm still selling them at retail, making better money, and my profit margins are better. But there are situations where, you know, you have a payment due, whether it's an input payment or an equipment payment, a loan payment, something that's due. And sometimes you got to have the money to make the payment. And so you take a loss on maybe, per se, a field or a stack of hay, but you could load up a stack of hay, take it to auction. Even if you get, you know, a not great price for it, you could still walk away with a decent check if you have enough hay on there and you can make your payment. So I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts? I personally would rather sell them at retail, and I think everybody would rather sell it at retail price. But in this situation, would you just take them to auction and take a loss, or continue to sell them one at a time and make the retail price off of it?